Tolu Smith here. Make sure y'all subscribe to my boy Downtown Deuce ASAP. Come on, man.
Destination restoration. Destination restoration. Destination restoration. Destination restoration. It's our time. Can you feel the elevation? We on a mission on vacation. Time to create the separation. Championships and motivation. 313 need no explanation. Miss me with all that conversation. We ready for the confrontation. Counting down to our destination. The final destination. Together all the time together. It's us against the world, it don't get no better. We turned it around, that was the beginning. Coming for the crown, you know we winning. Time to put in the work, I'm about to go for step. Taking our prisoners, it's my time. Yeah, I know that it hurts. Tear back on the church, you don't wanna see me in my prime. The mission is to ring, we're caught in everything. In the city, supporting the dream. Vision new I never seen, we deserve to be king. It's all or nothing, no in between. The clock is ticking and I hope you're listening. Don't touch me cause I'm sizzling. Physicality is tipping and mentality is menacing. The dog pound body's crippling. Now the clock is ticking and I hope you're listening. Don't touch me cause I'm sizzling. Physicality is tipping and mentality is menacing. The dog pound body's crippling. Yeah, feel the elevation. We on a mission on vacation. Time to create the separation. Championships and motivation. 313 need no explanation. Miss me with all that conversation. We ready for the confrontation. Counting down to our destination. The final destination.
What up, though? Welcome back to another episode of the Deuce and Boss Show. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday night. Boss, we got a familiar face on the show for the first time. Pistons credential NBA media member and Locked On Pistons host, Khahil, pulled up to talk Pistons hoops with us tonight. And it's been a long time coming, man. We've been trying to get this done for a little minute. So cool. Welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate you guys having me. Sure, it's going to be a fun time. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. A lot we could talk about. Yeah. But let's start with this, man. And Boss, I want to get your take on this as well. But just talking about the Eastern Conference, a lot has happened, a lot has changed. The landscape looks completely different. The East is a lot more competitive. You got LeBron and JB going to Philly, Giannis to the Heat, Kawhi to the Raptors, maybe. Lou Dort going to the Hawks, Cavs and Magic still in the building. Hallie looks healthy. Tatum looks healthy as well. And the Knicks are the champs, of course. That's like 8 or 9 teams right there. So just from your point of view, where do you currently rank the Pistons in the Eastern Conference? Where do you kind of have them?
I would still look. It's going to be a more competitive East. I think it's going to lead to. I don't think whoever wins the East is going to win 60 games. I think it's going to win the East at like 53, 54 games. I think they're going to be very close. Probably 1 seed to 7 seed is going to be like a 4 or 5 game difference. I think it's going to be very, very tight throughout the year. But I still think the Pistons are a top 3, 4 team in the East. They have something, especially in the regular season. If you want to argue that there's a few teams that maybe have a higher ceiling than them in the playoffs because they have more offensive creation, then maybe I could buy that. But especially in the regular season, when you have depth and you have defense and you have young legs, that's what carries throughout the regular season 100%. Like the rest of these teams that added players, again, if you want to argue they have a higher ceiling in the playoffs, I could maybe buy that. But they're going to have guys who have injury concerns all throughout the last few years. They're not going to be nearly as deep of a team. They're not going to be nearly as good defensively. And those are the things that carry you throughout a regular season. And that's what carried the Pistons throughout the regular season this past year. And I think, honestly, defense and depth, I think, is what you're seeing win across the NBA in general the last few years. So the East definitely got a lot more deep. It's going to be a bloodbath amongst all the teams. But the Pistons still, I expect to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. I still think they're going to be able to go 10, 11, 12 deep. They're led by some young guys. So I don't think they're going to be falling too far in the East. I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Boss, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's just no one expected us to really get 60 wins last year or to stay in the number 1 spot regardless. And we don't have the superstar starting 5 that suddenly these other teams have. But I do think I agree with it. It does come down to depth and defense, which is what we're known for. It's something that I've argued that, you know, being in Denver, that the Nuggets need out here to compete in the West. Like, it's becoming a defensive league again, I really feel like. And so I agree. I think I don't see us going below top 4, honestly. But I think I agree with Ku in that it's all going to be closer. It's not going to be one team running away ahead with it, like how OKC and the Spurs stayed ahead of everyone else in the West for most of the season. I don't think that that's what's going to happen next season, but that just makes it more fun. People used to laugh like, well, it's just the East. And now people are like, oh, now the East got harder and they're starting to freak out. It's like, no, this is what you guys want. Like, don't you want competition? Especially that we're blessed with these young talents. Like, this is how they learn to handle that, is to compete. And that's only going to benefit them later on as we continue to grow this team and our window opens and other teams, you know, their players are much older and are racing for. The one that comes to mind right now is Cleveland. Like, those guys need rings. They want it. And they're kind of running towards that with kind of know about we're, you know, kind of slowly entering, and we made our impact already. So that's, I agree that we're not going to, despite the reports, despite people saying, you know, we're just a play-in team now because we didn't make a huge splash. Like, okay, well, we weren't even close to a play-in team last season. Yeah. And we had Cade and he had no help. So
yeah, a lot has been made about being the top seed in the East. I think the Pistons learned last year that it doesn't really matter. I mean, when you lose, they worked all season for Game 7, and then you get to Game 7 against the Cavs and you lose by 31, biggest loss of the season. So I think they learned a valuable lesson. I think if they're a top 4 team, if they have home court in the first round, I think that's fine as long as they're peaking at the right time. A lot of times when they win the chip, they peak at the right time. Regular season, not so much. We saw the Knicks this year. That Knicks team we played against was not the same Knicks team we saw in the finals. So as long as they're peaking at the right time, I'm cool with the top 4 seed. So that's where I'm at with that. Let's keep pushing, cool. Let's go to rookie extensions. It's been a hot topic, very hot topic lately. It's kind of dominated the offseason conversation, at least among Pistons fans, JD and Ausar, of course. From what I heard and just trying to keep track, and cool, you can let me know what you think. The JD situation doesn't appear to be anywhere close to a solution as of right now when it comes to what the Pistons are offering and what he's willing to accept. You know, Shams reported that, you know, this could go to September. So at this point, where I'm just hoping both sides come to an agreement before training camp starts in September. That's where I'm at. Like, do you think an extension gets done before then? Because I don't see him taking the qualifying offer. I think that's just too much money to leave on the table.
Yeah, I think eventually some kind of new contract will be agreed to. I think just taking the qualifying offer would just be incredibly ballsy and very, 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 very risky. Yeah. We're talking about even if the Pistons are offering 5-year 180 or 5-year 175 to him, he's taking a qualifying offer that's going to be for $9 million for 1 year. So he's leaving over $150 million on the table, taking a chance that, knock on wood, no one wants any injuries. But when you sign a 1-year deal like that, you have to, like, you're taking a risk that you're not going to get hurt. You're taking a risk that you will play up to par, because if he underperforms, then the contract looks even worse. Right. Tari is brought up here. Tari was offered a better contract last season by Houston, and now he took a worse contract this upcoming year or this season. So I think it's going to be really, I really don't think he'll take the qualifying offer. If he takes the qualifying offer, I think me and Hunter Patterson of The Athletic were just talking about this yesterday. If he were to take the qualifying offer, I think that says more about he's just done with the team rather than about the money at that point. Because that's more, I just want to leave. Like, I just want this 1-year deal. I want to get into free agency. I'm not trying to come back. I'll take less money, go somewhere else. Then next year, you guys have disrespected me enough, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I think that would be more so the feeling from him if he took the qualifying offer. But we haven't heard anything reported on that kind of thing. I don't think the relationship's gotten to that point. I don't think he's gotten to that point with the team. I think there's going to be an extension had by the time of the start of the regular season or the start of training camp. I do think it's probably going to be a short-term deal, though. I don't think he signs for 5 years, 4 years. I think he probably tries to get a 3-year, maybe a 2+1 that allows him to get back into free agency early. So he doesn't, if he feels like he got underpaid, well, he can go and get paid quicker rather than having to wait till he's 27 to get back out there again.
Right. Okay. Because like with the qualifying offer, if I'm not mistaken, there's a clause. Like, so it's like at that point you would have to try to find a team that he'd be willing to potentially go to. Is that right? Go ahead.
So when you get the qualifying, if you sign the qualifying offer, you basically have a no trade clause, or not basically, you do. You have a no trade clause, but the thing is that he basically has one right now. Because even if you try to, let's say Trajan came out tomorrow and was just like, you know what, we want to sign and trade him. We're done with this. This is going nowhere. We want to sign and trade him. I'm not sure if they could even sign and trade him, because Duren has to find a team that's willing to pay him the money he wants. And then you have to talk with that team. Okay, now we'll talk trades with you. That's the first part. That's the first domino that has to fall. You went to Los Angeles. That didn't really seem like it came together. Sacramento, that didn't seem to come together. There was quick rumors about, maybe he wants Boston, and Boston went out of it. So I'm not even sure if there's an NBA team in the league that would pay him the money he wants. Fred Katz of The Athletic went out and talked to 13 different GMs and asked them what they would pay Jalen Duren. I think the most was 5 years, 210. I think that was the most he got from one, but most of them were about like under 180 million, 4 3-year deals for around like $35 million. So even if they wanted to sign and trade him, he would have to want to sign for less money somewhere else. I don't think that's even something that, if it got to that point, I'm not sure they could even pull that off, because he would have to find a team that would want to pay him that money.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I think it's gonna get resolved. It's not like it feels like a game of chicken, to be honest. It was just like, who's going to be the first one to kind of give in. So at this point, I know it's hard for fans who want to see action, especially with other teams around the league making moves. A FOMO is a real thing. But I think eventually things will get resolved. I think eventually this team will look a lot different too by the time we get to maybe the trade deadline. So we'll see. But I agree with you there for sure. So that's Jay. Go ahead, boss. Go get in there.
Yeah, let me get in there, please.
Go ahead. Do you think?
I agree too that I think it'll be a shorter deal. I think that's kind of where it's going at this point. Which again, like, then prove yourself, and then to me it seems kind of crazy to want to leave an atmosphere like Detroit when you were part of the reason that we're in it. So I couldn't imagine what kind of tension there is other than a little bit of the money, which is not a good look. But also, just to bring another perspective, again, this is the second time I brought up Denver now, but they're dealing with the same thing with Peyton Watson. Similar, not same, but and they just lowered their asking price. They said that they were open to like a sign and trade if there was 2 firsts, and now they're saying 1 first and a high value player. And that's just something from the start. Trajan has just said, we're not interested in sign and trade. We're not interested in sign and trade. Like, they haven't wavered from that at all, which does make me think that a deal is coming. And I don't know that world as much, and I just hope that it's just more of little tweaks to the contract in terms of money, how scale is, if it increases or decreases by year, how long it is, what kind of clauses there are, if there's a time where they can talk about extension or redoing it. So that's just kind of where I'm hoping it's going at, and it's just kind of fine tweaking at this point. But I do hope that they do resolve it, because it feels a little bit like, I think Trajan knows the number he won't go above. So I won't say that it's affecting our other moves, but if we could have a good, like a solid, have it confirmed, it would be a lot easier to make those moves now or looking ahead too. Because I think they're looking ahead, obviously, for the growth of this team, but also the growth of the league with the expansion teams coming in. Like, they want to have some guys locked down, I'm sure.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Go ahead, bro.
I think you can see from their actions that it's very clear like what their plans are. Trajan has left every single contract that he's come to terms with, non-guaranteed money, team option on the back end in 27-28, which would be the first year potentially that Ausar, JD, and K could all be on the books together. Because even if JD gets his contract this year and Ausar signs his extension won't start till next year. So they would have 27-28 is the first year all 3 of them will be on the books. And when that happens, the second or the first apron line is supposed to be around $220 million. So you should, if the rumored numbers that the Pistons want to offer around Duren, if we just cap, I don't think Ausar probably gets this, but let's just say the cap he can get is 35, somewhere around 32 to 35. You should have around $100 million still to play with and make your team, which is more than enough money to still round out a team, add another higher tier contract, and still be able to build a team around them. I think that's clearly what Trajan has been building towards. That's why they don't have any long-term salary. That's why I think he has a very set number that he doesn't want to go over with JD, because they have done the sense I've gotten is that they've really put a ton of time into really budgeting what this team can look like a few years down the line and be contenders still. If we want to build around these 3 guys, what can it look like for us to still be contenders? And I think they've budgeted that. They have a number in mind. They know how much they want to pay to these guys, and not willing to go above it because they think it's going to hurt them team building wise to continue to try to win. So I think Trajan, I would be shocked if this number got higher than 38. I think The Pistons want to be between 35 and 38 for Jalen Duren. And Duren, because he made All-NBA team, his max was $57 million. And he wants, it sounded like at the beginning of free agency, he wanted near 50. And that's obviously a big gap there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do think that they end up signing an extension together or getting a new contract together. The one aspect that I am just like kind of interested in seeing play out is that we haven't heard any reporting about it. So I'm not saying that there is any bad blood, but I've talked with Lindsey Hunter about this a few times, and that's like last year he could have signed a rookie extension with the Pistons, and they were far apart at that point. And they told him basically, we're not paying you, go out there and prove yourself, then we'll pay you. And then from his perspective, he goes out there, he makes an all-star team, he makes an all-NBA team, they win 60 games, they win a playoff series, and then you're still not wanting to pay him. Now, all of us can sit back and say, well, the playoffs really went pretty poorly, and we get why the Pistons don't want to do that. But from his perspective is, okay, last year you didn't want to pay me. You told me if I went out there and balled out, you would pay me. I go out there, I make an all-NBA team, and now I'm still trying to fight for my money. Like, why are you just so refusing to pay me? So I could see from his perspective in his camp being like, man, this is BS. Like, I did what you guys wanted me to do, and you still don't want to pay me. Like, why are you guys so reluctant to pay me? Do you not value me? So I could see that perspective coming out. I'm interested to see how it plays out, and if we get any more reporting, any kind of like behind the scenes on that. But that's just like a point of view that I'm looking to see if that maybe gets something that's brought up, the fact that they could have paid him last year and they didn't, and he felt like he proved himself.
Yeah,
That's an interesting point. That's some good perspective and context for sure, just to kind of, give more color to it. I see both sides of it, man. Like for me, it's just like if you want to win, you're not going to find a better option than Cade Cunningham, in my opinion, for his skill set as far as what he's best at right now. So, and he's publicly said that he wants to play his whole career with Cade. So that's why I think it's going to get done. I do understand the points about, what he may have been promised and things like that. So that does track. That does make sense to me. I just hope they're able to get it done soon, because at this point, it's just kind of getting exhausting for everybody. And I want these guys on the court. I want these guys working out together as soon as possible. We always hear about JD and Cade going to Arlington or wherever, Vegas or wherever. I want that to still be the case for all these guys this year, especially coming off their best year in a lot of these guys' career. So as long as it gets done soon, I'm cool. Let's go to Ausar though, bro. Let's talk about Ausar for a minute, because he also is eligible for a rookie extension as well. Do you think that his negotiation process will be a little bit smoother than possibly JD's? And what number do you think the Pistons could be looking at potentially for him annually?
Yeah, so I've heard a few things on this throughout the offseason. I just had Hunter on again yesterday to talk about this too. Yeah. I think as soon as Duren's contract or new contract gets, whether it's a qualifying offer or an extension, I think they're going to get Ausar's done pretty quickly. I think both sides are in a good spot right now. I had heard like a month ago, or like a beginning of free agency, that there was good progress made between the two camps, that they're in a good spot. I think there's understanding on both sides about what's going on with JD. I think the Pistons value Ausar. I think Ausar knows they value him. I think his camp is happy with where they're at. I think the Pistons will get an extension done with him pretty easily. I don't think that's going to cause too much. I don't think you're going to see nearly this kind of stuff going on. The Pistons will not. I mean, something would have to completely change. A 180 would happen for them to enter the season without him being on an extension. That would be pretty crazy. They do not want to let him get the restricted free agency. Both sides know that. Right. Both sides want to get a long-term deal done. I think that's going to happen pretty quickly after Duren's is done.
Okay, that's good news. That's good to hear. I don't know if I can go through this again. Boss, what about you? What do you think?
No, I would love to see Ausar extended. To me, though, just knowing, Trajan, I wouldn't be surprised if they waited till during the season. I understand not wanting to let him get to restricted free agency either. I think that Ausar has proved himself, because, Trajan didn't sign Ivy and Duren, like we said, they had to prove themselves. And we're lucky that they didn't sign Ivy. We're looking back on it. And now, like you said, JD went out there, thinks he proved himself, but there are clearly some things that they're like, no, you didn't in these ways, or when we really needed you to, or there's still more work to do. But it sounds like he's being offered a little bit more than he would have then, and it's still not, happy with it. So I'm cool with whatever they choose to do with Ausar. I just definitely want to retain him, because I think that he will get better offensively, at least more consistent in his offensive game, but his defense is truly unlike any other, and he makes it very hard for other teams. And that's the kind of defense we need to compete in this East right now. So,
I mean, when you look at the the top 3 teams in the East last year, or in the league, as far as defensive rating. You had the Spurs, the Thunder, and the Pistons, and they had guys. All three of those teams had the top guys from the DPO white voting: Chet, Wemby, and Ausar. I don't think that's an accident. So for who the Pistons want to be, you absolutely have to keep him and make sure that you don't play around with Ausar. For me, what's interesting though about his situation, boss, you kind of touched on it, is that Trajan is really trying to get this done before he becomes an RFA next season. And that's only something that happened with Cade, if we think about it, because you talked about it. With Jaden Ivey, they let it play out. With JD, they let it play out. And we see, I think they made the right decision in doing that. And just to be clear to everybody who's watching, Trajan has made it known that the core is Cade, Ausar, and JD, right? But I do think it's telling that Ausar, like with Cade, he's trying to lock him down before he even gets to that period. So to me, this is just my opinion, I don't have anything on this. It just speaks to, I think, the urgency they have when it comes to him. Maybe the confidence is a better word in his ability and his upside. Their actions are just kind of telling me that he's kind of top priority for this team in the long term because they're looking to get ahead of it. What you guys thoughts on that? Cool. What do you think, bro?
Well, I was talking to Hunter about that exactly yesterday. And look, I'm not, Shams or anything, but I've heard some things about this as well. And I think, Hunter talked about this with me yesterday, and he said, confirmed some of the stuff I had heard, that, Pistons think of this team as a core 3 with Cade, Ausar, JD. But if you really put them on a lie detector test, they would tell you that it's Cade, Ausar, and then it's JD. But they look at these guys as a core 3. They love these guys. They want to build around these guys. Trajan's not lying by it. But like you said, the actions kind of reveal what they're feeling. They feel a lot. They feel as though the 2 pillars of this team is Cade and Ausar, and they would love to have JD, and they want that to be the core trio moving forward. But the focus for this offseason, the priority, they want them. They will not. If they let Ausar, because they also know the other part of this is they know if Ausar made it to restricted free agency, it would not play out like it did right now with JD. There would be 5, 6, 7, 8 teams lining up trying to. It would become a bidding war, and you would end up having to get into numbers that maybe you don't want to get into. So, and I think again, I think it's part of that. It's part they just feel very high on Ausar. Like Hunter mentioned yesterday, some people feel like they're maybe even delusionally high on Ausar. Like there's the front office maybe is even like putting too many eggs in the basket of Ausar. Like that could be, and this is coming from someone who is maybe Asar's biggest fan. Like I love Ausar.
What?
But they are
bigger
delusionally.
Than you? Bigger than you? No, I don't know about all that, bro. I think you might be the de facto Ausar fan, buddy.
But I mean, they are extremely high on him. So I think that's, like you said, I think you're just kind of seeing who they prioritize right now with the money. Yeah. But also, again, like it goes back to a little bit what I mentioned earlier, is where they have Trajan's a very well thought out, put together a plan, stick with the plan. Yeah, doesn't want to like kind of go off of that. And I think they have a plan for how they want the future next 3-4 years to look like, and they don't want anything to kind of mess that up. So if they can get Ausar right now for, because I see people always talk about, he needs to improve offensively, and obviously he does. Mm-hmm. But I think what they see and what Ausar understands and what the front office understands is if Ausar were to make a jump this season offensively, next year you're not talking to him about $35 million. Now you're getting into the $40+ million range. Like you're going to be getting into probably where his brother signs. Like his brother, I think, is probably going to get around 40+, probably 42, somewhere around 30, like somewhere around there. Right now, you could get Ausar, I think, between 30 to 35. I think my guess is they settle on 32. But if Ausar does make an offensive leap and you wait, now you're talking about you're going to be dealing with another JD situation where it's now, okay, now we have to owe another $10 million, another, and I don't think they want that to happen again with the guy that they're pretty high on. So I think he'll get done pretty easy here soon.
Yeah.
Go ahead, boss.
I just agree with all that. And just some comments too, addressing just how he's defense. I think he does make an offensive impact. We saw once his confidence went up and didn't waver as much, he was able to get to the basket more. His passing was better. He was able to open up the floor a little bit more. And it's just something he's going to work on. I absolutely believe that. He's already there. Like you said, he came in third in defensive. I think he should have been second. I think that he can finish in second. I think that he can easily pass Chet Holmgren as a defender in this league. So I'm excited. He doesn't need to he doesn't need to completely shift his offense right now. Like we saw that last year. We saw them try to make him the ball handler, the secondary ball handler right away. We saw them try to make him work on an arch on his shot instead of just his verticality and getting it over people.
His shot has come a long way too. He used to be way over here.
Well, yes. But they stopped trying to make it. I think they're just like, let's just go with what you're comfortable with. And we started to see him look more comfortable as the season went on. And that's just going to continue. I think that he has a lot more to learn. And like you said, but he's already just one of the best defenders in the league. So if what he has to learn is just adding to his offensive bag, that's huge. That's already huge. So I agree that they should get that signing done early. And it sounds like, that everybody's on board, both sides with that. So
yeah, for sure. So guys, I know in the chat, everybody knows it's been exhausting. But this is what happens, man, when you find yourself in the lottery over and over again. Mm-hmm. When you have Cade and Jaden and JD and Ausar and eventually Ryan, like this is what happens. You're gonna have to deal with this. So I just want to give Trajan credit for not budging and having a plan, a visionary plan of how he wants to get this done going forward. Because I think a lot of teams would have just went ahead and just gave, whoever 40 plus and just figured out the rest later. But this team is built on depth and they wouldn't have that if they took that approach. So I just want to give him credit for that because this is not an easy thing to do, especially with the new cap situation, the new CBA, the aprons and all these different things. So he deserves a lot of credit for how he's handling it. I know it doesn't look pretty yet. It's not perfect yet. This roster is not balanced yet, but a lot of time to go. This is just the beginning. Deadline isn't until February? So 7 months out. So yeah, plenty of time. Anything else tonight, guys?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that your last point about the CBA, I think, is the biggest deal. Trajan talked about this at his exit presser. Someone asked him, I forget who it was, but I was there, and they asked him about, what is he allowing what kind of impact has the CBA kind of had, and some of the new lottery reform rules with the picks. What kind of impact has that had on his team building? He spoke about how he thinks that trades are a little bit tougher to get done. He thinks it's going to be tougher to see it happen because different teams are valuing first round picks differently now. Teams are trying to get an understanding of what first round picks are even valued as right now compared to before. It's less before first round picks were more predictive. You could predict what a first round pick was going to be. You could bet like, oh, this team's going to be bad at this time. It should be at least a lottery pick. Now you don't know where a pick can land because the middling teams can win the first pick. Now it's not, you go after bad teams pick. So I think that had a big impact on it. And you've mentioned, Sarah, you've mentioned Denver a few times. I think teams you are watching, I think you are seeing teams, and I think this is why Boston moved on from Jalen Brown. I think you're going to start seeing these teams make better decisions with their money. Like, I don't think you're going to be seeing as many guys get max contracts anymore because go ahead.
Sorry, I said that on our last show. I was like, look at because Denver, here we are. People are like, we're wasting Cade's years. Okay, Cade's 24, right? 25. Yeah, I agree that we need to take advantage of his game right now and surround him. Jokic, that's a man whose years are being wasted because it's like you can pay 3 people the max, basically. What Denver did is that they paid 3 people the max, Jokic, Murray, and Gordon, and then they paid Christian Brown, who was injured and now they want to pay Watson, who was made very substantial leaps. I love him as a player, but was injured when we needed him most. Again. So I think that, like you said, I think that it's going to start to equal out a little bit more of like these guys, we can't overpay role players. Like Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon are both very good players. I shouldn't even put them in the same category. Aaron Gordon's above him, but they're good players, but they're not worth that right now. So I it's just funny that you said that because I said that last time. Like I just feel like something in the league will shift in terms of, and I think that's why there's certain reasons that people aren't going to overpay for Trey Murphy. There's certain reasons that people aren't going to overpay for some of these guys, because then that sets precedents across the league for other teams and other players to be like, well, I'm better than him. I get more for me, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think true. I think the main thing I think they're even looking at too is that they're looking at like Jokic's situation, like they have an all-time great player. And they're already talking about how are we going to have to completely reset again? Like, is he going to be unhappy and want to trade in a year? We just saw what happened with Giannis in Milwaukee. They're basically, Denver's basically at where Milwaukee was 2 years ago. Yep. That's basically where they're at right now. And you got these NBA teams looking across with this new CBA. Again, you saw Boston move on from Jalen Brown, who had a great year for them last year, but they knew that he wanted this extension coming down that was going to pay him $60 plus $70 million. It's just like, look, he's a great player. but there's probably maybe 3 to 5 players in the league that really are worth $70 million.
Yep.
We can't do that and think we're going to have a good team. So I think you're going to see all these NBA teams start to adjust to, we can't just give everybody 50 million. Everyone can't get 60. Even if you're a great player, are you SGA? Are you Giannis? Are you Luka? Are you like, if you're not one of those guys, we cannot just be throwing money to you just because you happen to make an all NBA team. That's like, the Pistons want to avoid a situation where we are entering 2029 and the thought process is, well, we played all our hands. Now what do we do? Do we need to start talking about trading Cade? Like, does Cade want out? Do we just have to completely trade everybody now? Do we have to reset? They want to be in a situation where if in 3 years from now, like, okay, we capped out the Eastern Conference Finals, let's say, with this roster build, we have enough room and enough, we haven't capped ourselves out and moves where we can just retool and make another version of this team that doesn't involve, oh my God, man, we might be done. This is everyone starts panicking, and then you get the Damian Lillard move, and then you get one of those like panic moves that end up just accelerating the downfall. So I think that's what you're seeing Trajan try to avoid. I think that's what you're seeing Boston try to avoid. I think OKC is going to end up trying to avoid this within the next year. Like you're seeing NBA teams across the league realize we can't just be giving everybody money. And if we do, we're going to be putting ourselves in a bad spot.
Yeah, it just goes to that optionality that Trajan always talks about he wants to have. That's just that flexibility. When you look at Cleveland, D. Mitch is getting what, $60 million a year?
Almost 70, I think.
Yeah. Devin Booker's getting
Donovan in a few years going to be at 70,
Right. So I think those contracts are really going to come back to bite teams. And like you said, it's going to be a lot of desperation moves that makes it worse. And that's what I think he's trying to avoid. He's got a lot of movable contracts right now on his roster. And I don't think they're all going to be here. But I think, once again, he's just ready to pounce if and when the opportunity to go get somebody. By the way, Trey Murphy, for me, is how Ausar is for you. Like, I love Trey Murphy. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I was like, man, outside of the top 5 in 2021, I'm like, give me Trey after that in that same draft. But let's move on, bro. Let's talk about the starting 2 position. We talked about it a little bit, but the Pistons currently have about 7 or 8 guards on this team right now, depending on how you slot Ausar or Duncan Robinson, whatever. But either way, it's way too many. And it seems to be, for me at least, the only projected starting 5 spot that has some uncertainty. So if you were JB, if the season started today, and it's not, but who would be your starting 2 alongside Cade come opening night? We talked about it a little bit on X, but just want to get your thoughts on here too.
Yeah, so my starting 2 would be Duncan still. I think the starting 5 last year was really good. They did a great job throughout the regular season. They had one of the best net ratings in the NBA. I thought they fit really well. I thought him and Jalen Duren had a great chemistry in the DHO game. I think Duncan's downhill playmaking was something that people maybe underrated a little bit going into the season and kind of realized as they played how good of a passer he is once he gets downhill off the DHOs. He's also a better finisher than maybe people think, getting to the rim at times. So I thought Duncan just had an incredible year this past year. Like when they lost Malik, getting Duncan, a lot of people were concerned about that. A lot of people were like, well, can he replicate Malik's season? And I don't know if he quite replicated the 3-point shooting on that type of volume, but I think he did about as good as anyone could have possibly did. The season Malik had was one of the best seasons we've ever seen. Yeah. I think it might be the best season we've ever seen from anyone off the bench. So then Duncan came in and he had just a fantastic season. He was incredible. There's a few numbers. If I wanted to get nerdy, I could throw out how good of a shooting season.
It's on you, bro. Yeah, it's on you.
I love the numbers. Do it.
Yeah. I think the conversation would be between him and Isaiah Joe would be my guess. And both of those guys, the nerdy number that I was going to bring up was points over expectation on spot up threes. They were ranked number 1 and number 2. So basically they had the top 2 shooters from last year's season on their team this year. So I do think, for me, I think the conversation would be between Duncan and Isaiah Joe. But I think the reason why you'd probably go with Duncan, at least initially, is because, one, he has the chemistry with the guys already. I think he knows how to play with the starting lineup. He knows how to play with your best players. He has this great, chemistry with Jalen Duren already. So I think initially you go with Duncan at the very least. And I know that Duncan got picked on. I think his defensive concerns got picked on a little bit more in the playoffs than they did throughout the regular season. I think in the regular season, he knows how to use his size and his length to get active off the ball and be in the right spots. In the playoffs, he did get hunted out quite a bit, especially in that Cleveland series towards the last 2-3 games. He did get hurt in game 4, which I feel like people don't really mention enough, just to be fair to him. He did get hurt in game 4, and he ended up not starting the next few games because his back was hurt. I wonder how much of that ended up with, because the first few games, the reason why they stayed with him switching on the Harden, because the first 2 games, he actually did a good job switching on Harden, and Harden wasn't able to make him pay. But then after the first 2 games it started picking up, I feel like the back injury made it worse. Was he going to hold up the whole series against Harden? Probably not. But the back injury definitely probably made it worse for him. Either way, though, I think Duncan's just his chemistry, his shooting ability, and how well he's played with them already, and his size. I think they really like having size across the whole lineup, is why I think they would go with Duncan initially. But I do think the conversation will be between Duncan and Isaiah Joe, because Isaiah Joe can shoot some, like he one of the best shooters in the league as well, and he probably provides a little bit more defensive impact than Duncan does himself. So I think that's the conversation for me. That's the training camp battle I guess we'd be watching for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Boss, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I hate these hypotheticals that Deuce likes to talk about, because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Joe with us. I haven't seen this yet. I definitely don't think it's going to be Danis. I know people throw his name around, but he's our only backup. He's our only backup point guard.
Ebuka Okorie.
I think he stays that we've seen. I'm not doing hypotheticals. I haven't seen Okorie play with our team yet. And so Danis is the backup PG in my mind. So I think it's I've said Isaiah Joe because of the defense, but I also like this whole season, the starting 5 did not change. It did not change for matchups, because we predicted maybe they'll go too big sometimes. Maybe they'll get when Duncan early on, the common critique from me was, what is he doing out there for 30 minutes if his shot's not falling? Because he's getting run over on defense. He got much better with that as the season went on. His effort is there. He was averaging, like, the last fourth of the season, he was averaging like a steal a game. Like, it was there. And so that's why I think it's still going to be Duncan, because it wasn't wavered last year. There's really no reason to move him to the bench after the season he had last year as well. So that's just kind of where I'm at with him. And then but I do think, like Koo said, I think it'll be between him and Joe, but I haven't seen Joe with off Cade yet. And so I can't say that this looks better, that this looks smoother. While we were just talking last show about how the Pistons' kind of advantage is that they didn't completely break up their starting 5. Yes, Tobias moved on. They're not bringing in some splashy star to take over. There's cohesion already going into next season, and that's going to be a plus. And I think keeping Duncan in the starting lineup with Cade and Ausar and JD is a part of that. So I think it's going to be Duncan.
Okay. I think, like, I could understand Duncan. I personally think it's a 2-man race, to be honest. I think it's Isaiah Joe or Danis Jenkins. Of course, come training camp, I think it'll come down to just who makes the game easier for Cade, because that's what it was about. For me, it's like, who makes the game easier for Cade, but in different ways when it comes to those two guys. For me, it's like, will Isaiah Joe and his ability to space the floor, be a movement shooter, and take advantage of those off-ball opportunities, is that going to win out, or is Danis Jenkins' ability to create alongside Cade going to win out? I think that's going to be the determining factor for me, because both those guys are both 6'4". Joe's a little bit bigger, but they're both capable defenders for me. They both can give you that two-way play. So I just feel like whoever can make the biggest impact in their respective area there will win out. We didn't see a lot of Danis and Cade. I know the numbers weren't great. I know Koo's been all over that for sure. The numbers weren't great with them two together on the court, but we didn't see a lot of it. I don't think we saw enough of it. And I think Danis having an offseason, a full offseason, to have time with these guys, to gel with these guys, to get more reps with these guys. Is he the long-term two, or is he the long-term Robin next to Cade? I don't know, right? I'm not saying that for sure, but I just think his ability to be able to create off the dribble and be able to, because he didn't shoot terribly from 3. He shot 37% from 3. So it's not Isaiah Joe or Duncan, right? It's levels to it. But I think he's capable enough to be able to space the floor while also being another ball handler on the court, and then being able to strap up defensively and being able to guard. He's very pesky. You know, he's got great lateral movement. He does have areas of room to grow for sure, being basically a rookie last year. So I don't want to make it sound like he's a perfect player, because he's not. He's got a long way to go. But I like what he can do as far as being able to just help Cade if they do send doubles, if they do try to trap him, just having that ability. Isaiah Joe, you made a good point, Koo, about Duncan's size, because I think Isaiah Joe is 6'4" and Duncan 6'7". That's a big difference. It's a big difference. I just like his lateral movement. I don't think it'll take long for him to be able to get acclimated with these guys, because they play a lot of the same way as far as him and Duncan. They do a lot of the same things. And you mentioned the corner 3. I think he led the league at 53%. So I think he will be able to kind of slot in relatively quickly. Maybe Duncan starts, right? I could see the familiarity, like you mentioned. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if an Isaiah Joe did crack the starting 5, just because they play a lot of the same way. and because of what he could bring defensively, potentially. He's not a great defender yet, right? He's not a clamper or nothing like that. I just think he just gives you more capability on that end. So we'll see. It's a great conversation, though. Anything else on that, guys?
No, I think that I think what will end up happening. I think there's a push from. I think there's going to be a little bit of a push from the organization in general to want to see Ausar more as a secondary ball handler this year. I think they want to see him in that role. I think they wanted to see him a little bit more in that role this past year. They went away from it a little bit towards the middle of or after he came back from injury and everyone came back from injury. I think they went away from it a little bit, went back to it a little bit more in the playoffs because it felt like they needed to. I think there is a want from the organization to see, can he do this? So I think, at least initially, I think they're going to go with the shooter next to him and put Ausar as the secondary ball handler and see what he can do after an offseason development. I think they really believe in that, at least the front office. I think they very much believe in it. I think they want to see, can he actually do it? Can we get a sample size to know, can he do this? Can he be this guy? And I think that's going to be one of the main answers they want to figure out before the February trade deadline. You mentioned it earlier, Deuce. I think this team that we see right now, I don't think will be the same team we see in February. I think there's going to be changes done to this team. The way they structured these contracts, John Collins 3-year deal, but it's really a 1-year deal with the back 2 years not guaranteed.
Yeah.
All of these other contracts they hand out with team options with the back end, nothing longer than 3 years, 2 years. The only one longer than 3 years is Herter, and he has a team option the last year. So I think they got all these mid-tier contracts because they want to be able to do something mid-year. And I think since they weren't able to get the guys that they wanted when they came into the offseason, because they were aggressive, they wanted to get stuff done. But once they realized they weren't able to get those guys, they decided the next best move was, okay, let's get contracts that we can pivot to the middle of the season, reevaluate the trade market, and instead, in the meantime, let's see what Ausar and JD can prove to us. What can they show us they can do? And then maybe in February, we have something else in mind that we want. Like maybe February comes around and Ausar has taken off in this area. Now they feel like, okay, instead of getting another ball handler, maybe we need a starting 4 now. Maybe we use John Collins in the pick and we go get insert X name. My favorite has been MPJ, but it doesn't have to be him. It could be anybody. Just go get any starting 4 that can shoot. Just like insert X player is maybe that, or if Ausar, maybe they do it and Ausar flounders. Maybe he doesn't look good as a secondary ball handler. It doesn't go well. February comes around. Now they're like, okay, well now we need to get the secondary ball handler. We've given them a chance. We got the data we needed. We need to go get that secondary ball handler. Let's do that. So I think that's what they want to utilize the first half of the season to figure out. So that's why I think they would stay with the shooter next to him, whether it be Duncan or Isaiah Joe. I do think it's going to be interesting to see how Danis plays. I think Danis was very much a roller coaster up and down throughout. He had some very, very, very high highs. He had some lows, and then he played great when Cade was out. So like he has incredible confidence and incredible. And this is a compliment, not a negative. This is a compliment. He's very much delusional, which you have to be in order to be as good as he is and make it to where he is. And delusional players are usually ones that think that they can be what what everyone else doesn't. So he's probably working his off season to be this guy. So if he knows they drafted Okorie's going to be coming for his minutes too. Right. So I won't be surprised if Danis comes out and it looks better than he did last year. Like Danis was basically a rookie last year. He did have to improve. He's getting another offseason of like having that confidence that I'm going to be that guy still. Like they believe in me. This isn't me fighting for a roster spot no more. Like I have some safety. I have some stability here. I'm sure all of that will help him another year in. But I think they lean a little bit more towards the shooting still. Okay.
No, that's a good point. It could hinge on Ausar. Like you said, where he's at could determine where they go at the 2 spot for sure. Boss was making a stank face because she obviously lives in Denver and she wasn't the biggest fan of MPJ. So when you said MPJ, she could know.
I would truly stop being a fan of this team if we got him.
There's a lot of people that feel the same way. A lot of people hate him.
And it's funny because, people rat on Russell Westbrook saying he, shoots you out of games. It's exactly what MPJ does. Shoots you out of games. Terrible role model for the young boys.
You don't like the podcast, boss?
He can rebound. He can rebound.
Just keep the microphone away from him. Ban the microphone.
Well, he can rebound if he wants to. I think it took him. I think last season the last season he had with the Nuggets, it took him over 10 games to register an assist on the floor. I mean, you're out there with the guy. You're out there with Jokic and Murray.
She be going in on him, bro.
But
she be going in. She do not like BJ.
Sorry, I would truly devastate me, especially for his price tag at this time. And I'm glad he's had a turnaround with the Nets, but bro, it's with the Nets where he was the number one option.
Okay.
Anyways.
So insert X player. We'll just go with that.
Yeah, you can insert any power forward guy if it goes well. High volume 3-point shooters are what I think they would be looking for. Just anyone of that archetype.
Yeah.
So let's go there, bro. Let's talk about John Collins for a minute, man. Because the Pistons did sign him to a 3-year, $51 million contract this offseason with, as you mentioned, year 2 and 3 not guaranteed. It's not the exact same contract as Duncan's, but it's similar as far as the years and the option. But there really hasn't been a lot of talk about John Collins, not a lot of buzz this offseason surrounding him. What do you make of his fit and also his future with this team? You kind of talked about it a little bit, but just elaborate for us.
Yeah, so I think John Collins can. Do I think that John Collins is better than Tobias in a vacuum? I don't. I think just in a vacuum, Tobias is a better basketball player.
Yep.
But I think John Collins. I think what you saw the Pistons do, they're trying to play a different style, or maybe a different style may be too strong, but just add a different layer to their offense and replace maybe Tobias's ISOs and his post-ups with something else. Right. John Collins is not nearly as good of an ISO player as Tobias. He's not nearly as good of a shot creator as Tobias, but he is a better shooter than Tobias. He's an incredible offensive rebounder. He's been a strong rebounder throughout his career when he's been, played closer to the basket. He's a much better off-ball player. He's a great cutter. He's a great finisher around the rim. I think he shot over 75% at the rim the last 5 years. So if he gets it around the rim, he's finishing at the rim. It's happening every time. He's a great play finisher is basically what I would call him. He's a fantastic play finisher. If you get him an open bucket, he's there as a lob threat. He's there as a cutter. He's there as a good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. He can hit above the break threes and corner threes. That's one of the things I really complain about with Tobias is that I loved everything Tobias brought, but he could not hit above the break threes for his life for a long stretches of the year. He could hit a corner three, but he could not hit an above the break three for his life. So I think Tobias in the vacuum probably is a better player, but I think John Collins, what you're seeing the Pistons want to do is instead of having their secondary action like on the weak side of the floor, like when the shot clock was running down, a lot of times they just give it to Tobias. Tobias go to a quick post up, one dribble fade, one dribble pull up. Like that was usually like their break glass, something went wrong, save us kind of secondary action for them. I think instead now they want to get a little bit more movement and they want to take that usage that Tobias had, that reliance on Tobias and put some of that on JD and Ausar. And they want to see if we move some of that reliance on them, what kind of players do we need around them? And Trajan at both of his press conferences I was at this summer, both pressers, he said, we want to get players that make our 3 best players better. We want to get players that will help Cade, Ausar, and JD get to the best versions of themselves. What do they look like? How can we do that? And I think what you've seen is that they believe if you get shooting and spacing and guys who are just play finishers that can take advantage of Cade's playmaking. Ausar is a really good passer. Yeah. Duren, when he wants to pass, he can be a good passer. Like these are guys, I think they want to try and enable these guys to just be the playmakers and be the guys figuring out all the shots for their team. And rely on them more and see can they do these things. And I think they viewed John Collins as someone who could accomplish that much better, who could play off the ball a lot better, who will move off the ball a lot more, provide a little bit more spacing, will hit more shots. I think another thing that kind of gets underrated with John Collins is he absolutely will help. Pistons basically they joined in on the movement of the 2 fun new words is possession battle. Like winning the possession battle was like what the Pistons joined in. That was like their main thing this past year. They turned you over and they got a bunch of offensive rebounds. They may not be the greatest half-court offense, but they're going to have 10 to 15 more possessions than you, and they're just going to win because of that, because they turn you over and they're going to get second chance points. And John Collins, I think, absolutely is going to contribute to that because he's a monster offensive rebounder. So you got Collins, Ausar, JD all on the floor. Like you should be dominating the offensive glass. And the last point, I know I've been talking for a minute. The last point I think John Collins provides for them is that he can play the 5-2 in spurts. I think they want to have small ball 5 minutes where you can play, let's just say Cade. Let's say you go Cade, Isaiah Joe, Duncan, Ausar, Collins. And now Ausar is the only non-shooter. Maybe you can use Ausar as, the screener here. Maybe you can use Ausar as the ball handler to get Cade free looks in the mid-post area. Now he has more spacing because you have to guard Ausar as a ball handler. Like it allows you to do some different things. I think they've been kind of searching for that for the last few years. Like last year, I don't know if everyone will remember, they were linked to quite a few stretch bigs. Like they were linked to Miles Turner, linked to Naz Reid. So I think they've wanted that, and I think he provides that too. And he's on a good contract that I think they can and probably will trade at the deadline. But if they don't, I think, I think he allows them to do some different things that Tobias just wasn't allowing them to do. Doesn't mean he's better. Doesn't mean Tobias is bad. I think Tobias is better in a vacuum as a player. I love Tobias. I hope he comes back and retires. But I think John Collins provides something different that they think maybe even if he's not a better player, will raise the ceiling of the team because it allows them to rely on Ausar or JD more.
Yeah, Collins and let's just say Duncan or Isaiah Joe on both corners. Yeah, give me that action.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Cade did last year, averaging 9 assists with only Duncan as his true consistent spacer, to me is insane. That's crazy. And it helps JD too, because now they can't pack the paint. Because like you said, teams didn't respect Tobias from that corner last year. So they were just packing it. They were like, he's gonna be this, okay, go be this. But now, like you think about the Spurs, they got Vassell in one corner and Champagnie in the other corner. Like they have the space now, and they got a big point guard like we do to be able to bully the way to the basket and get into the paint. And you got Wemby there for the lot. So to me, it's like you just said, bro. He's not a better pound for pound player, but schematically, I feel like with what the Pistons want to do and with our head of the state being Cade, who needs space, I think it's a perfect fit. And then you also, like you mentioned, the possession game. You can get out and run more. That's what the Pistons are at their core. They want to get out and run. Too many times in the playoffs last year, I saw the Pistons getting out rebounded on the glass, offensive boards, 2 or 3 of them, resulting in a 3. And now that just breaks your back. So it was like the chicken and the egg thing. I said it all last year. The chicken and the egg, what comes first? It's like I kept hearing Tobias is great in the half court. You can dump it down to him and get a bucket. Yes, that's very much the case. And John Collins is not that guy. However, why were we in the half court so often? We weren't getting enough stops. Too often the ball was going through the hoop. Now you got to run the half court set. Now you got to go to Tobias. If you can get more stops, you get out and run. It kind of solves that problem of just having more rebounding on the glass. He's a little bit bigger. He's 6'9". Tobias, I think, is 6'8". So he's a little bit bigger, more athletic, right? So I just think overall, as far as the puzzle piece, I think he just fits a little bit better with what the Pistons want to do and who they want to be in the long term. So that's my thought. Anything else on that, guys?
No, I was going to say I agree with what you guys say, and I was just always a fan of Collins. I wanted him last offseason, and I think you guys summed it up. I mean, you guys laid it out, and to sum it out for me is just he's just not clunky out there. He just looks like you can plug him in, and he's gonna help you whatever lineup he's in. He just moves very well off ball. He knows where to go. He knows what to do. I think that's just why I look at him and I'm just like, he's a good basketball player. I know that sounds a little bit silly just to say, because obviously these are NBA players. But just in terms of Tobias and how you brought up Deuce, just like with the scheme and everything, I think he's just going to look really good out there and make things just slightly easier for our other guys as well.
Yeah.
I was going to add to your point, Deuce, to kind of back it up even more. I see a comment here that really made me want to talk about it a little bit too, is that you mentioned how the Pistons got or gave up a lot of offensive rebounds, despite the fact that they turned teams over a lot. They were a great offensive rebounding team, but they were not a very good defensive rebounding team. There's a nerdy stat over at Data Baller that kind of tracks this. It's DRB. It's not simply just defensive rebounds. It tracks, how much better are you than basically your opponent per 100 possessions at getting defensive rebounds, whatever. The Pistons ranked 19th in that, despite being a top 3 defense. They were top 3 in all the other defensive statistics, but they were below average as the defensive rebounding team. And one of the main reasons for that, and I know this, I love Stu as well. Stu was a very poor defensive rebounder. When Stu was on the floor, the Pistons gave up an offensive rebound 30% of their defensive possessions. When he was off the floor, it was 27%. So Stu was a great offensive rebounder. He was obviously a dog. Like, everyone loves Stu. Stu is great, and I'm not at all trying to act like Stu is not a great backup big. He absolutely is. Yeah. But one of the areas that he did struggle at, and I said that stat a little bit wrong. It wasn't 30% of the team's possessions that were offensive rebounds. Just they allowed 30% offensive rebounds. Percentage of the offensive rebounds that were available, they were allowed 30% of the time to. When Stu was on the floor, they were 3% better when he was off the floor. Basically, the point is Stu was a great rim protector, but I think part of the reason why they were worse at getting defensive rebounds on the floor is just simply he went after a lot of shots. Yep. And when you go after a lot of shots as a rim protector, if you don't have someone behind you, that hurts you. So I think that hurt them quite a bit. And 2, he is just a smaller, big, and he struggled at times to keep guys off the glass. So I do think John Collins will be better in that regard. I do think that, that he definitely helps the rebounding battle. I don't think that they'll get destroyed as much on the defensive glass. They should be able to limit the second chance opportunities. I'm really interested to see John Collins play some backup 5 minutes and see how many, small ball 5 minutes we get throughout the year. I think those could be really interesting.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I wish Stu could have played more with another big. I know he's a 5. He played 5. He's 6'7", bro. Like, to your point with the numbers, I think that would have been helped if we saw some of him and JD or him and B-Ball Paul at times, just to have somebody on his back line to help him. But he was the only guy out there when he was out there that was really big. And even he's not that big. So I think having John Collins and JD in the starting group, just having more of a too big, I guess you could say, lineup will help with that for sure. Go ahead, boss.
I just have a quick question just while we're on the topic of John Collins and his position with us at the 4. What do you think is more important with the amount of guards that we have? None of them are really splashy names. People still think that Cade needs someone better to help him at that position. What do you think if we were to make a move, another move before season? Do we bring in another 2 or do we bring in another 4?
I would think it's interesting because I would want to say that they get another 4 because I think they only have 1 on the team right now. Like it's John Collins and like. Do they look at Ron as a 4 now? Is like that what he's going like is like I agree. I would not I don't want him at the 4 either, but like who is the other 4? So I would think it's a 4. But all the names we keep hearing them potentially getting linked to are these like guards that can come off the bench and can score a little bit. When you got DeMar, Bennett Mathurin apparently they at least spoke to. So I don't know. I would want them to get another 4 because right now I think it's looking pretty bleak at the backup 4 position. But I don't know. I don't know who. It seems like
there's not a lot of 4s either.
Yeah, that is well. Yeah, there is someone. He's host of Locked On Nuggets. Matt Moore. I forget what his actual. AG? Yeah. He mentioned how having Aaron Gordon is such a big deal for Denver because power 4 is such an important position in the NBA nowadays. Like everyone's searching for that 4. So I think they would need another 4, but we keep hearing them linked to other scorers. So I think they maybe are feeling the pressure to get another scorer with Cade a little bit. Maybe like they're feeling some of the fan pressure of like, or maybe it's not even fan pressure. Maybe they just feel like, okay, we need another. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, real quick, this is just gossip, rumor mill, but did you hear what happened with AJ today?
No.
He deleted all of his social medias.
Like the social media accounts or like the pictures on the accounts?
Everything.
Oh, his accounts? Really?
Yeah, everything. After he just posted yesterday. So
maybe he knows something.
He could just be in his DeAndre Jordan Zen zone, or it could mean something. Because he means a lot to this city. And I think he would take it very personally if he was traded. But if Cam Johnson's not moving.
I mean, them matching when they matched Spencer Jones' contract from OKC, that was really like interesting to me because right now they're in the second apron quite a bit.
Right. Yeah.
And I can't imagine they want to stay in it. Now they could just say screw it, we'll stay. I think that would be. I mean, that's going to be tough as hell. I mean, they could do it, but
said that they would. But it is because of them making these contract mistakes. And there's not really a market for Cam Johnson. Like people are like, well, if you're going to give us Cam Johnson, we want Aaron Gordon instead. Even though Cam's a little healthier at this point, Aaron Gordon can do what Cam can do. Yeah. But Spencer Jones, I'm glad that they signed him because they need defense. And he was a very good player. He's who I wanted. I was like, we should go after him for our backup 4. I thought he did great this season for such a cheap player, but they almost had to. And now I think that I don't think that they're going to keep Watson.
Yeah.
But they need to get rid of either Gordon or Johnson. So, but either one of those guys could also be 4s.
I mean, I've loved Aaron Gordon for years. He's been one of my favorite players for since like 20, whenever he was drafted 2 years after his 2K card was amazing. And I've been a fan of him since then.
I thought you were going to say when he got hosed on that dunk contest because
he definitely got hosed in that one. Yeah,
man, crazy. But he said like what 35 million, something like that. So I think it's
33,
doable if they were to go down.
Going up. I think that's the way his contract is. It increases for the year. It's Denver made some mistakes with their contracts, but
we'll see, man. GG's for the Nuggets for sure. All right, we got a couple more and we'll get you out of here, bro. Coming up on an hour now. Who gets cut, bro? 16 players on this roster. They got to get down to 15 by the start of the season. Barring any offseason moves, as they talked about perhaps being done, which player do you think could potentially find themselves on the outside kind of looking in opening night?
Yeah, I think Gary Harris is going to be who gets cut. Yeah. I think I've kind of like just I've kind of accepted that. I feel like it's pretty a foregone conclusion. I don't think anyone else they would release. I think they need size as much as possible. And even though Taurean Prince isn't he's not big, but he's bigger than Gary Harris.
Yeah.
So I think Gary Harris is the one that goes.
Yeah. Same here, especially with hearing about Taurean Prince also being the option to play the backup four, which I don't like. He's 6'6". Like, we gotta get bigger. But yeah, but 6'7" guards, you don't have a need for another guard who doesn't really give you anything that the other guards don't. That's kind of where I'm at. So I agree with you. Go ahead, boss, real quick.
Yeah, I agree. I could also see both Taurean and Gary Harris being waived and signing a free agent. I could see that happening as well, just because they are so cheap. I like Prince. He's who I picked, but Gary Harris, and people were like, well, he got interviewed at Summer League, so he can't be traded. He probably walked right up and said, I'll do it. Like let him be interviewed. And so, but that's why I kind of think there's one more thing coming.
Yeah.
Or they just haven't, the wave would be kind of like a last resort of like, okay, let's wait. Like this is the roster we're going into the season with, and we can make another move in the season if a move's not made or agreed upon before then. Because I think asking prices are going to go down as the season gets closer, and teams like the Nuggets, the Hornets have like 18 rostered right now too. Like people got to move, and that's going to happen closer to the season when asking prices and rosters are figured out. So I still think there's going to be one more move that we won't have to waive, but if we do, I think it will be Harris.
Okay, could see it. I could see it. Two more questions we try to hit, bro. Draft night, Ebuka Okorie was the selection. He's the newest backcourt addition to this team, and I think the Pistons traded 3 second-round picks to move up those 4 spots, right?
Basically,
right? Okay, from 21 to 17. So, what was your draft night reaction to that selection, and do you feel any differently now than you did then after watching him in Summer League? I know it's Summer League, right? But just from what you saw as far as watching him as opposed to who's playing against.
Yeah, so like I knew, I had been saying for a minute, I had been hearing that the Pistons wanted to trade up for somebody. I heard that they really liked Yaxel. I knew that they really liked Okorie. There were a few guys they really liked, and that they were there was some noise that they potentially would be using Stu to move up into the draft, which is basically what they did. They used Stu in some seconds and swap their first to go up. So I thought that they were going to end up doing that. I was really hoping Yaxel would fall. I thought Yaxel would be a great fit for the team. But he just didn't fall enough. He got taken pretty early.
He's going to be the future of that team, though. I am excited.
He's going to be really good.
It's just hard because you don't know who's going to select him. Like you trade up, you lose assets. Okay, you get to 15 and it goes to 13. It's like, what was the point? So I understand why they didn't. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I think if he would have fell a little bit farther, I think maybe you would have seen it happen. But 10 was way too high. But Okorie, I knew that they really liked Corey for a while. And seeing him in Summer League, look, I think you saw, for me, when I watch Summer League, I'm not looking at percentages. I'm not looking at how much you scored. I want to see like what your process is. Is your process something that is showing, something that can transfer to the NBA? Because I've used this example all the time. It's the easiest one to do, but you see this every year in Summer League. Like Stanley Johnson dominated Summer League, but that was just because he was stronger than everybody. He could just push people around. He was able to score. And it's like, okay, yeah, the points and the shooting percentage looks cool. But like, is that stuff that's going to be able to translate to the NBA? So like, I don't really care about the score, like the exact numbers. I wanted to say, okay, this guy, his billing is that he can create separation. He's a great he has a great handle. He can get downhill. He's very undercomposed. He doesn't turn the ball over. I want to see, can he still get by the next level of defender at the Summer League level? Can he still get to the paint? Is he feeling comfortable with his handle, or is he letting guys speed him up? Is he struggling with it? Is he getting all the way to the basket? Like, is he able to do these things? I thought you saw all of these things from him throughout Summer League. I thought he obviously had 2 really inefficient games. I thought he had 2 really good games, especially the last one. I thought you saw him really get into his groove. Yeah. But like, he was able to get to it wherever spot on the court whenever he wanted to. His handle was extremely tight. Guys were being very physical with him. And I know I was there for games 2 and 3. He was very pissed off about the physicality.
Yeah, they were mugging that dude. They were playing football. It was crazy.
Yeah, he was getting really mad about that. But even with that, I thought he handled it really well as a ball handler. He got into the mid-range area, which I really liked. Is that especially with young guards, you saw this a lot with Ivy. We brought up Ivy earlier. One of the things I really spoke on with him that he really struggled at over and over and over again. It's really, really bothered me. But you see it a lot with a lot of young guards really throughout the league, is that once you get in that in-between area between the 3 and the rim, do your eyes get big and you start to rush and you don't know what to do, or are you undercomposed and you can navigate that area? I thought Ivy was really just one speed and he would get all the way to the basket. And if they slowed him down the in-between area, that's when you started to see turnovers happen and stuff like that. Okorie in Summer League, you saw even with the physicality, he was snaking the pick and roll. being very, very patient with where he wanted to go. He could navigate that mid-range area, find a spot, and then explode. Like he was very comfortable with his handle. He was very comfortable with running the offense. I think he'll shoot better than he did in summer league. So I really liked what I saw from him. I know that the organization is very, very high on him. Like I've been to a lot of Trajan pressers over the last few years. I have not seen him smile as much as he did when he talked about Okorie. Like this dude, I've never seen him smile that much in my life. So they really like him. So I like Okorie as well. I think he's gonna be really good. The one area that I think they are gonna have to adjust with him, or he's gonna have to just adjust to, I do think his jump shot's a little bit slow. I think there was a few times in summer league where he went to his step back and he had to adjust a little bit because his jump shot's a little slow. I think his jump shot's fine. It's not that he had to rework or anything, but I think he'll realize that he has to probably either one, get a higher release, or two, just quicker, or speed up his release time. So I think that's the main thing I saw. That I really think he's probably gonna walk away from summer league and be like, I probably need to change this a little bit. But outside of that, he's incredibly shifty, man. Incredibly shifty, incredible handle, very twitchy, very undercomposed. I really like him. I think he's gonna be really good.
I'm very comfortable when he has the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
Like when he played at Stanford, he did not turn the ball over. I think only like 85% of his points, I think, were scored just off of no ball movement. Like he was just
self-created. It's crazy.
Self-created. It was insane.
As an 18-year-old,
he led
with
that
no help.
Right. So if you give him spacers, you put guys in the court with him, because like he and K both need space, but they need it for different reasons. They play differently, but they both still need space. So I think him just having more space on the floor is just going to be huge for him. And for me, the biggest thing, because I know what he could do offensively, it's the defense, bro. His willingness to pick up 94, his willingness to, he's scrappy. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there and try to grab some boards. I just like how he plays the game. He likes to push it. He can play in the transition or in half court. That's the thing too. He can half court set. He can dance. He can fight. He can process. Transition. He's just gone. He's looking to push, and that's what I think he's gonna fit this team very well. And he's 19, man. So I know he's not the biggest guard, but there are guards in the league now who are not that big. They're not that tall. But they know how to play bigger than their size. They're smart. They play angles. He just seems to have a high IQ in the basketball court. And that's what gives me the most encouragement. Is like he's going to be able to make the adjustments because he just knows how to play basketball.
Yeah. You guys have basically mentioned everything I really enjoyed about him. I really love how I see what I loved in Ivy in him in terms of how he can just take off and he can get past defenders with his speed. And I do think, he was getting mugged. He would get in, his shot would get blocked. But that whistle, it doesn't. I know he would be a rookie. The rookies don't get the benefit of the doubt in the court. Cade doesn't get the benefit of the court. Staff does. There's still no way. But like the way he was getting hit, those are fouls in the NBA. Like you're not going to deal with that every possession like they let you do in summer league. And so for him to still actively look for his shot, go into those situations, I think just shows a lot about he's just like, I'm just going to go do what I do best and get it done. I also like his defense as well. The steals and the peskiness remind me a lot of TJ McConnell, but I think he's better at staying in front of his guy. Like I think he goes for steals, but if he misses, he can get right back in front of him. They're not risky. So his size, especially the first game in summer league, I was like, you don't even notice that he's 6'1". Like he plays bigger, and that's what you want. Is you don't want to look at a guy and be like, I can see that he's a foot smaller than some of these guys, So I am excited about him. Again, with summer league, with anything, a lot of people were, they saw guys that were drafted after him. Who's the one on the cap? Malik Thomas. Some guys that you watch them play and you're just like, dang, like look at what that guy can do, and he's bigger, And so you get a little bit like, oh, did they make the right choice? Is this it? But like you said, there's summer league risers and fallers. How it translates, it's going to be huge. So that's why I also can't, like you said, like you're like, well, he can be our backup point guard. Like I really want to see who he is. And this is the first time we've had a higher first round pick that wasn't a top 5 pick that we had to use right away. We had to use Ivy right away. We had to use Rod right. Like we had to use some of these guys right away because we were bad.
Not a good team.
And then Cade was injured. So we've had time. Now we have time to develop these rookies. So I'm excited about him. I'm also excited about Ugonna. It's clear that he's a project, but I think he can really work out. So I'm happy with the moves that we made this year for sure. I'm excited about, and those guys are also both very young.
Yeah. So for sure. All right. Last one. Outside of the core three, right? Of Cade, Ausar, JD, which player do you think will have the biggest impact on this team next season? If you had to pick one guy outside of that, because we know the core three is a core three, right? But outside of those three, who do you think is like, okay, I think he's going to be an impact player in the biggest way next year?
Man, that's a tough question, man. I
still don't know, to be honest, just for the record.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I would probably, my answer probably would be I don't know, but I think.
Can I rephrase it a little bit?
Go ahead.
Because if this is too hard, because it is, again, kind of hard when we don't even know what it's going to look like. Who do you want to? Who do you think needs to have the biggest jump to really help this team next year?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think fans probably would really want it to be Ron. I think you want it to be Ron who makes this jump and has like this big of an impact. That's who you want it to be. You want him to make this big jump this year. You want him to be able to be someone that can be played in the playoffs now.
Yeah.
Someone that can play a little bit more throughout the regular season. To someone that he shoots well enough to where he can play more minutes with Ausar. You want that to be. You want it to be Ron. Like you want the answer to be him.
Mm-hmm.
So I to answer your question, I would say Ron. To answer Deuce's question, I probably would go. I mean,
I know, man. I don't know.
Tried to get the muscles turning a little bit.
It's like, I guess you could. I'll go, man.
A case can be made for like 4 or 5 guys. That's what makes it hard.
I'll go with Duncan. I'll say Duncan has another great shooting season. I'll say Duncan has another great shooting season, and he remains super valuable for him because of that. I could see like there's two dark horses that I wanted to say, but I think it would really get people upset.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
There's two guys that I was really looking at. I was like, I don't think people are really. I feel like there's two guys that people are kind of underrating how much they could really impact the team if they're good. If they're as good as I think they could be this year. First one is Paul Reed. I think Paul Reed could be incredibly, like he could be massive for them.
Yes.
So he's the first one. I've seen a few people say it in the comments. The second one is Kevin Huerter. I think Kevin Huerter could be really good, man. Like I know people focus on the 3-point shot. I get it. Like he does so many other things really well to where if he does hit, like if he comes back next year, he shoots 37-38% from 3.
He might be starting.
Yeah, like seriously, swear to God, like he is that, like he's really good. Like I'm not. People think I'm trolling when I say like he is actually really good. He can dribble, he can pass, he can finish. He's very smart. He's a connective passer. He's a good defender. Like he has size, he has length. Like he's everything about him. You would love if he could just hit threes. If he was able to hit his 3-point shot, you would just love it.
Yes.
But I think that's why Trajan paid him because they really like him. They think he can really be good. So I'd go with like he's the dark horse one for me.
I was gonna say Danis and then I was gonna say Huerter because the fact that he was hurt too. He was injured and out of the lineup, and the 3-ball wasn't. Honestly, there was a point in the season when he was here, when he was healthy for that. It was a stretch for like 5-10 games. Well, one game he had like 5 assists in 15 minutes. Like what in the world?
But he's good. He's
really good, bro. He's a beast, man. But for me, it's just like there was a point when Duncan was starting. He was struggling defensively in the playoffs in the regular season. And I'm like, man, I kind of want to see how Huerter looks with these guys. Yeah. Just because he's more of a two-way. The shot isn't there. And that's why you couldn't, because Duncan was the only sniper. You had to have him there. Right. But like you said, bro, I've been banging that drum for 4 or 5 months now. Like people are sleeping on him, bro. Remember the game against the Lakers when Danis hit that game winner over Reeves and then Luka's bringing the ball back up? Who's guarding him? Who gets that stop? When Luka's like, clear out. He's like, okay. He gets this, like, people are very much underrating him, bro. And if he can get to 36, 37, I think he's a dark horse. Maybe not at the start of the season, but I wouldn't be surprised if he found himself somehow in that starting group if he is able to shoot because he can handle he can just do everything outside of shooting. I think he does everything better than Duncan.
He's a very smart player, man. He's a very smart, talented player.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a reason why even with his shot falling the last few years in Chicago, they were still really much better with him on the floor because he just does so many other things. Like he's able to do these other things that you just really like, to where if he could just get the shot to come back, it's like, okay, like we have something there. Exactly. But I like him. I like him a lot. I think Trajan really likes him. I see why he likes him. We need the
And for $9
3-point
million
shot
a
has
year,
to come back.
like, it does. It does. I agree. 33% ain't gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it for sure. Go ahead, boss, real quick.
Yeah, and I was not a Herder fan at all. I made fun of I'm from Chicago. I made fun of my Bulls friends when they got him. I was like,
Yeah.
But
I have a lot of Bulls fans too. A lot of my friends are from Chicago.
Oh my god,
do they like him? Were they Herder fans?
They really, you know who they really like? They told me when they as soon as they signed Javante, they're like, "Cool, you guys are gonna love Javante." I swear to God. They told me as soon as.
I love that. But anyways, and but I also was a huge Ivy fan. I didn't understand the trade when it happened. So I was like, there's just no way that these two players are swappable. But now it makes sense. But I really just like out there. He does do a lot. And if his shot begins to fall and it falls, and I can see that happening with a little bit more stability, maybe this contract being locked in does help him get to a point where he just feels safe. Like he's been moved around a lot, played for teams that are in total rebuild stages. So there is, was it Collins, Herder, and is it Prince or there's other guys that have played together already on other teams, like the Hawks or something. But Hawks. But so that also just excites me because it again, it's the guys that are already comfortable with each other. It's not all brand new pieces. I don't know if that was intentional or not. It probably just sweetened things a little bit. But my vote would be for Ron. Like you said, I think that's what everybody wants to see Ron just have that. Because then we want to see him have it to where he's useful and we can see him get playoff minutes and things like that. And I think he genuinely deserves it. But I think Herder would be up there for me. And then also I would say Danish just in terms of consistency. Or actually I'm going to go with B-Ball Paul because when he was a starter for those times when we were out Stu and Duren, the numbers he was putting up, he never played like he was tired. He played so aggressively. And having now as our backup, having consistent minutes every game, not, every game, I think he's going to absolutely flourish.
Yeah. It's a good take. It's a hard question. It's a tough one.
It is.
It's
It's cool.
There's a lot of guys, like you mentioned. There's a lot of people. They have a lot of players. They're very deep. They have a lot of players that could step up, and any night could just be like. That's part of the great part about this team is that they are a very deep team that anyone at any moment could be the reason why they win a game, and could have a stretch of games where it's like, oh, they're really good, and then someone else steps up. So there's a lot of options.
Yeah, sure. and I want to point out real quick is that every team has players that need to develop, but like we are lucky with this depth. And I'm just going to bring up the Nuggets again because there's players that they're forced to keep that I don't think will make those leaps for them, like Zeke Naji. I don't think they're resigning Jalen Pickett, so I don't know what they're going to do. They only have 12 rostered right now. Like they have young guys that are on their roster that you're sitting there, you're just like, I don't see him doing better. And I think that's just, again, the Pistons are lucky that we have guys that can hold it down for us already. And we see improvement areas that I'm sure that they're working on. That's cool.
Okay. So Paul Reed, Ron Holland, Herder, those are guys. In the voice of Greg Kelser. I love Paul Reed. And we'll leave that there. Cool. Brand new day. Are you ready?
I already have my ticket. Yeah, I already have my tickets bought. I'm going Friday night. I've muted like 30 words on Twitter so I can't get any spoilers. Bro. I've unsubscribed from New Rock Stars on YouTube. I've done
Emergency Austin, The Cosmic Wonder, all of them, bro.
Yeah, I'm unsubscribed from them all. And I am, and even still, I'm having a bob and weave spoilers. I'm ready. I can't wait. I'm
trying my best to stay away, bro. I don't want to go into this movie waiting 5 years with my mind pre-blown. I just want to stay away and experience it, bro. But I think it's gonna be a good film. It's gonna be. I saw you on X talking about it, so I had to ask you that real quick.
No, I'm a huge MCU fan. MCU
fan. Okay. About to talk a little bit more offline. Okay, for sure. Good to know, bro. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here, man. That is a wrap, guys, for tonight's episode. Cool, we appreciate you, bro, pulling up to the show for sure, bro.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you, man.
Yeah, this was fun. If you guys enjoyed tonight's episode, man, be sure to go subscribe to Cool over on the Locked On Pistons podcast. And you can find him on X as well at Cool Khahil. Guys, he is creeping up on 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yep. So y'all go ahead, make sure y'all go help him out and hit that sub button for sure. And also help us. We are getting close to 10K on our little small channel over here as well. So make sure you guys, if you enjoyed the episode, go tap in with Cool and tap in with the Deuce and Boss show as well. And with that, guys, y'all know the drill, man. Detroit versus everybody. Peace.
Welcome to the Dog Pound. Yeah. Oh.
I'm scared of these damn Pistons. I'm very concerned.
Screaming, 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 cheer it. Yeah, I cry loud, cause I said it got now. We off the leash, and we not coming in peace. This is Detroit when we step on the court. Be afraid when you see the motorcade, watch below. When you see us soaring, Jalen, Duren. Pick your poison, all gonna war when Dana's a song. Be afraid. Yeah, I cry loud, cause you know we got now. We off the leash and we not coming in peace. This is Detroit when we step on the car. Be afraid when you see the motorcade, watch your low. When you see us soaring, Jalen, Duren. Pick your poison, all gonna war with them Highlander song. It's the dog pound. With authority.